Welcome to Monk's Temple. As you settle into this space, let the sounds around you soften into the background. Let the weight of the day, the lists, the worries, begin to dissolve with each exhale. There is no need to search for anything here. No need to achieve. Simply allow yourself to be, as you are, in this moment. We are about to explore together one of the deepest, most transformative rivers in the landscape of Buddhist wisdom. It is a practice so fundamental that the Buddha named it the very foundation of the path, yet so profound that to fully understand it is to touch liberation itself. This practice is called dana. We often hear it translated as generosity. We see it as the coins in the alms bowl, the donation at the temple, the charity given to a cause. And while these are beautiful expressions, they are merely the first, whispering breeze of a coming storm. Dana, in its ultimate sense, is not about giving away what you have. It is about giving away what you are. It is the radical, fearless practice of relinquishing the central story of me and mine. It is the unknotting of the heart. Let me begin with a story, not from scripture, but from a moment that changed the lens through which I see the world. It was many years ago, in a small, dusty village at the foot of the mountains. I was traveling with a single, simple bag. In it, among my few belongings, was a small, smooth stone I had carried from a river near my childhood home. It was nothing special to anyone else, just a gray stone. But to me, it was a touchstone of memory, of identity, a tangible piece of a past I was afraid of forgetting. One afternoon, a village child, perhaps 6 years old, sat with me. She was fascinated by my few things. She saw the stone, picked it up, and her face lit up with pure, unadulterated joy. "It's perfect," she whispered, holding it to her cheek. My mind immediately constructed its fortress. That is my stone. It is my connection. She will lose it. It will just become another pebble in the dust. I watched her small hands cradle it. And then, without any grand decision, the words arose, "It is yours." I said it softly. The moment I released the claim, something inside me released with it. A tightness I had not even acknowledged. A clinging to a memory, to a narrative of who I was, simply loosened. The child ran off, beaming. I felt lighter. Not because I had done a good deed, but because I had, in a small, real way, given away a piece of the fortress of me. I had thought the stone held my memory. In giving it, I learned the memory was never in the stone, it was in me, and now it was free. That was my first true lesson in dana. If this notion of freedom through letting go speaks to you, if you feel a curiosity to explore this path further, I gently invite you to subscribe to Monk's Temple. It is a way of nurturing this shared exploration, a signal in the noise that you choose depth, you choose understanding. Your presence here is a gift. Now, let us look at this concept from a different angle. Our entire world trains us in the opposite of dana. It trains us in acquisition, in accumulation. We are taught that safety and happiness lie in gathering, more wealth, more status, more likes, more possessions, more certainty. We build what I call the gallery of self. We curate it carefully. Here are my achievements, here are my wounds, here are my opinions, here are my things. We stand as both curator and guard, believing the gallery's contents define us. The Buddha's piercing insight was that this gallery is not a palace, it is a prison of our own making. The suffering we feel is the suffocating air of its confined rooms. Dana is the practice of walking through this gallery and, piece by piece, beginning to take the items off the walls, to open the doors, and to let the world back in. But this cannot begin with grand gestures. It begins in the quietest of places, with your attention. Your fully present, non-judgmental attention is the most precious gift you possess, and thus the most powerful place to practice Dana. In this very moment, you are giving your attention to these words. You are giving a piece of your life to this exploration. That is not a small thing. Imagine your awareness as a clear, deep well. Most of the time, we are scattering its water everywhere, on regrets of the past, anxieties of the future, on endless mental commentary. To give your attention fully is to channel the entire wellspring onto one thing. To listen to a friend until you hear the silence between their words. To look at a tree until you sense its quiet, unwavering being. You are giving the gift of your universe to that one object or person. In that giving, a miracle occurs, the barrier between you and it begins to shimmer, to become less solid. I remember an elderly woman I used to visit in a city, a place of concrete and hurry. She lived in a small apartment with a single window box of herbs. She was nearly blind. Her practice, she told me, was to sit by that window every morning for 1 hour. I give the sun my time, she said. I feel its warmth on my face. I smell the basil and the mint. I listen to the pigeons on the ledge. I don't try to do anything else. For that hour, I am giving everything I am to that experience. She was not a Buddhist. She had never heard the word Dana. But she was a master of it. She was giving her most limited resource, her time, and her most profound resource. Her sensory presence, completely. In return, she received a wealth of peace that many with full sight and busy schedules never find. She had discovered the secret: giving fully does not lead to emptiness, it leads to a profound fullness. This is the counterintuitive heart of the Buddha's teaching on Dana. We operate from a mindset of scarcity: if I give, I will have less. The wisdom of Buddhism points to a reality of abundance. The well of your awareness, of your compassion, is fed by giving from it. The muscle of your heart grows strong by the exercise of opening. The gallery of self feels emptier as you give things away, only to reveal that its walls were illusions, and you were standing in an open field all along. We will journey much deeper into this open field, exploring the Dana of forgiveness, the Dana of fear, and the ultimate offering. But for now, as we conclude this first part, simply rest with this question: what is one small, tightly held thing in your inner gallery, a minor resentment, a small vanity, a trivial possession you are overly fond of? Just look at it. Don't try to give it away yet. Just acknowledge its place on your wall. The practice begins with seeing the curator. Let us continue our journey into the heart of Dana. Find that comfortable space once more. Let your eyes soften, or close them if you wish. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your chest. In this stillness, I invite you to consider a new dimension of this practice. We've spoken of attention as the first gift. Now, let us feel into the gift that naturally flows from that place of deep presence, the gift of kindness. In the teachings of the Buddha, this is known as metta, a boundless, warm-hearted goodwill that seeks the happiness of others without condition. But today, let's feel it not as a concept, but as a living, breathing form of Dana. Imagine, for a moment, that every act of kindness, no matter how small, is not just an action, but a seed. You are planting it in the shared soil of our world. You may not see it sprout. You may never sit in its shade. But the act of planting itself changes the landscape of your own heart. This is the secret: when you give kindness, you are not draining a reservoir. You are tilling the earth within, making it more fertile, more capable of receiving rain and sunlight. The generosity of a kind word, a patient silence, a forgiving smile, these are the most accessible forms of wealth we have to distribute. I want to share an original story with you, one that taught me about the invisible currents of this kind of giving. I was once on a long, overnight train journey through a vast, sleeping countryside. In my compartment was a man who was, by every conventional measure, difficult. He was agitated, complained about everything: the temperature, the noise, the speed. He seemed determined to be unhappy. My initial reaction was to withdraw, to build a wall of quiet judgment. But then, remembering the practice, I tried something simple. I gave him my attention without resistance. I listened. And beneath the complaints, I heard a tremble of fear. When the attendant came by, this man barked at him harshly. The young attendant, tired himself, simply nodded. Then, instead of snapping back, he did something extraordinary. He looked the man in the eye and said, "It's a long night. Can I bring you a glass of water? Maybe it will help." It was a small gesture. A glass of water. But it was a perfect, liquid act of dana. It was kindness offered not because the man deserved it, but because the attendant had it to give. He gave away his own right to retribution, and offered a moment of care instead. The effect was not instantaneous. The man grunted. But an hour later, I saw him. He was sitting quietly, looking out at the passing darkness, that glass of water held in his hands. The agitation had melted. He had been disarmed not by force, but by a gift he could not refuse. The attendant had planted a seed of peace in that cramped compartment, and we all benefited from its quiet, immediate bloom. This is the Buddhist principle of interconnectedness in action. The Buddha did not teach metta as a solitary, personal feeling. He taught it as a revolutionary force, a form of dana that recognizes no enemy, no stranger. When you give kindness, you are acknowledging a fundamental truth: your peace and the peace of the person next to you are not separate. Your happiness is woven into theirs. To withhold kindness is to believe in the illusion of separation, to think you can dam up a stream in one part of the river without affecting the flow downstream. Let's explore this with a metaphor. Picture your heart not as a container, but as a node in a vast, luminous network. Like a star in a night sky, connected to every other star by threads of light we cannot always see. Each act of kindness, no matter how small, is like increasing your own luminosity. You shine brighter. And that light travels along those invisible threads, affecting the entire network in ways you cannot calculate. A harsh word dims your light. A generous thought brightens it. Dana is the conscious choice to turn up your radiance, knowing it contributes to the illumination of the whole. Now, we must take a step into more challenging territory. What about when the person you need to offer kindness to is yourself? This, too, is a vital form of dana. We can be our own most ruthless curators, our own harshest guards in the gallery of self. We deny ourselves forgiveness, rest, compassion. We hold on to stories of our own inadequacy with a fierce grip. To give yourself kindness, to offer yourself the same patience you might offer a struggling friend, is a profound act of generosity. It is the dana of self-compassion. The Buddha's path is one of liberation for all beings, and that absolutely includes the being you call you. You cannot give freely from a place of self-condemnation. The wellspring must be allowed to nourish its own source. I learned this from a most unexpected teacher, a potter. I watched her work for days, centering clay on the wheel. Her hands were firm but immensely tender. The clay would wobble, collapse, become misshapen. She never cursed it. She never forced it. She would simply slow down, re-wet her hands, and gently guide it back to center. You have to give the clay your respect, she told me. It has its own will. You can't demand. You can only invite, support, and sometimes forgive a flaw and work it into the design. I realized she was speaking of dana. She was giving her respect, her patience, her forgiveness to the clay. And isn't our own mind, our own heart, like that clay? Often wobbly, collapsing, misshapen by old wounds. The practice is to be the potter who gives it respect, who gently recenters it with patient hands, who forgives the flaws and sees them as part of the unique design. Giving that to yourself is the foundation for giving it to the world. So, as you breathe here, can you offer yourself one small gift of kindness? A softening of the shoulders. A release of a self-critical thought. A silent acknowledgement, in this moment, I am enough. This is not selfish. It is essential. It is filling your own cup so that you have something authentic to offer others. The Buddha's wisdom is holistic, it begins within. As we prepare to move deeper, hold this feeling of gentle, radiant giving. We've touched the dana of attention and the dana of kindness. But what of the gifts we can hold in our hands? What of our possessions, our resources, our very time? That is where many believe dana begins and ends, but as you're discovering, it is merely another layer of a much deeper practice. Let us now turn to a dimension of dana that feels more tangible, more solid in our hands. We arrive at the giving of things. Our possessions, our money, our resources. This is the arena where the practice often becomes most visible, and also, where it is most easily misunderstood. If we are not careful, we can perform the action of giving while our heart remains firmly behind the walls of the citadel, the ego merely performing charity as another form of curation. The Buddha's teaching pierces through this. The value of material dana is not measured by the size of the gift, but by the depth of the letting go it inspires within you. There is a crucial distinction here, one illuminated by a metaphor of two gardens. Imagine the first garden. It is overgrown, crowded with plants. The gardener goes through, pulls up the weeds, the dead flowers, the excess growth, and bundles it by the gate for anyone to take. This is giving from your surplus, from what you no longer want or need. It is beneficial, it clears space, but it requires little from the gardener's heart. Now, imagine the second garden. It is lovingly tended. In the center is a single, magnificent rose, the gardener's pride. To give that rose, to cut it from its stem and offer it, knowing it will wilt in another's hands, that is a different order of giving entirely. That act costs something. It involves a sacrifice of beauty you still cherished. True dana, in its transformative power, often asks us to visit this second garden. It asks us to give not what is easy, but what is meaningful to us. It is in the feeling of that inner pinch, that reluctance, where the walls of the self are most clearly located, and where the practice of dismantling them becomes most potent. I recall a man I knew, a collector of rare, antique pens. They were his passion, each with a history he could recount. His collection was his sanctuary. A younger colleague, just starting out, admired them with a genuine, wistful awe. One day, the collector chose his very favorite pen. Not the most expensive, but the one whose weight and balance felt like an extension of his own hand. He placed it in a simple box and gave it to his colleague. "To write your own story," he said. When he told me this, his eyes were bright with a complex emotion. It hurt, he admitted. For days, I felt a literal ache, a sense of loss. But then, that ache created a space. And into that space flowed a quiet joy I can't explain. It was the joy of not being owned by my own possessions anymore. The pen was gone, but my appreciation for it was somehow freed, became bigger. He gave from the center of his garden, and in doing so, he discovered that the true rose was not the object, but the capacity to appreciate it, and that could not be given away, only expanded. This aligns with a core Buddhist principle, anatta, or not self. We assign a part of our identity to our things. I am the person who owns this. When we give the thing away, especially when it is difficult, we are not just giving an object. We are giving away a tiny piece of that fabricated identity. We are practicing for the ultimate letting go. This is why the Buddha placed such emphasis on dana for monastics and lay people alike. For the monastic, owning little, the practice is constant. For the layperson, living in the world, every act of conscious giving is a sacred rebellion against the pull of ownership, a deliberate loosening of the grip. Now, let us consider a more subtle, and perhaps more daily, form of material dana, the giving of time. In our age, time is the currency we guard most jealously. Our schedules are fortresses. To give someone your time, fully, unreservedly, without glancing at a clock or thinking of the next task, is one of the most profound offerings. You are giving a piece of your life, which you will never get back. You are saying, you are more important than my agenda. This, too, has its pinch. The mind will argue its case, you're too busy. This isn't productive. They are wasting your time. To sit with a grieving friend in silence, to help a stranger with a task, to read a story to a child for the 10th time, these are acts of dana that wear away the stone of self-importance. They root you in the shared, human present. I learned this from a bus driver in a small town. His route was a slow loop, and he knew many of his elderly passengers relied on him not just for transport, but for a moment of connection. He had a simple practice. At each stop, before opening the doors, he would take a single, deep breath and silently offer, "This time is for you." He wasn't just driving a route, he was giving away moments of his day, intentionally. The atmosphere on his bus was noticeably different, softer, more patient. He had transformed a routine job into a continuous practice of dana, giving the gift of unhurried presence in a hurried world. But material dana, if performed with the wrong understanding, can fortify the ego instead of loosening it. This is the danger of transactional giving. We give to feel good about ourselves, to be seen as generous, to gain merit, to obligate the receiver. The Buddha called for a purer intention. The ideal is to give without thought of reward, without clinging to the act itself, and with a sense of joy before, during, and after the giving. It's about the release, not the result. A beautiful image from the teachings is of a person giving a gift with the same open-handedness as one would toss a pebble into a deep, still lake. You release it. You watch the ripples spread. But you do not jump in after it. The hand is already empty again. As you reflect on this, consider your own second garden. Is there something, an object, a portion of your time, a skill, that you cherish, that you might experiment with offering? Not because you should, but as an exploration of that inner pinch, that space where your freedom might lie hidden behind the rose you are still clutching. The practice deepens, and the terrain becomes more internal. From the giving of things, we must now journey to the giving of something infinitely more personal. Our narratives, our wounds, our right to be right. We now turn to a form of dana that is so deeply woven into the fabric of existence that we often forget it is a practice at all. It is the giving of our very presence to the present moment. This is the dana of mindfulness, of complete immersion in the here and now. In a world that pulls our consciousness in 1,000 directions, toward past regrets and future anxieties. To offer the fullness of your awareness to this single breath, this single sensation, is an act of profound generosity. You are giving your life back to itself. Consider this metaphor: your mind is a magnificent, ancient tree. Its roots draw from the deep soil of memory, its branches reach toward the sky of possibility. But the tree itself exists only in the eternal present, in the solidity of its trunk, the feel of the sun on its leaves right now. The practice of mindful presence is the practice of being the tree, not the roots or the branches. It is settling into the unwavering truth of the trunk. When you do this, you are giving a gift to the entire universe of your experience. You are saying to this moment, you are enough. I am here with you, completely. I learned this from a master carpenter, a man who worked with reclaimed wood. He would spend hours simply looking at a piece of wood, running his hands over its grain, feeling its knots, its cracks, its history. Every piece has a song, he told me. My job isn't to force it into being a table or a chair. My job is to listen until I hear the song, and then help it sing. His work was an act of dana. He was giving his patient, respectful attention to the essence of the wood. He wasn't imposing his will, he was collaborating with the truth of the material. In the same way, when we practice mindfulness, we are not imposing our agenda on the present moment. We are listening for its song. We are giving it the space to be exactly as it is. And in that giving, we often find that the moment gives back a profound sense of peace, of rightness. This practice is a direct application of the Buddha's teaching on right mindfulness, the seventh fold of the Noble Eightfold Path. It is not about achieving a special state, but about giving up our resistance to what is already here. Each time you notice your mind has wandered into the past or future and you gently, without judgment, guide it back to the sensation of the breath, you are performing dana. You are giving away your entanglement with stories and returning to the raw, simple reality of being alive. You are donating your awareness to the immediacy of existence. But this giving of presence extends beyond formal meditation. It is the heart of deep listening. When you truly listen to another person, not planning your response, not evaluating their words, but receiving them with an open, silent space, you are giving them the sanctuary of your undivided attention. You are building a temple of silence between you where their truth can be spoken and held. This is a rare and healing gift. In a culture of interruption and distraction, to be fully heard is to feel truly seen, and that is an act of liberation. I remember a conversation with a hospice nurse, a woman who had sat at the bedside of countless individuals in their final days. I asked her what the greatest need was that she witnessed. She didn't speak of medicine or comfort measures first. She said, presence. The simple, courageous act of being there, without flinching, without trying to fix the unfixable. To hold a hand and not run away from the silence. That is what allows peace to enter the room. She described her work as a continuous practice of dana, giving her calm, unwavering presence to the sacred threshold of life. She wasn't giving answers, she was giving a silent, loving witness. And in that space, fear often softened, and love could surface unadorned. Now, let us take this a step further. What about giving our presence to tasks we consider mundane? Washing a dish. Folding laundry. Walking to the mailbox. These are often moments we rush through, mentally already somewhere else. What if we offered them the gift of our full participation? This is the Zen concept of chopping wood, carrying water, elevated to a practice of dana. You are giving the activity the dignity of your complete attention. In doing so, you transform it from a chore into a ceremony. The dish is not just cleaned, it is honored for its service. The folded cloth is neatened with care. The walk becomes a pilgrimage of noticing. The feel of the ground, the quality of the air. You are giving the mundane a touch of the sacred, and in return, it gives you the sacredness of this very moment. This leads us to a beautiful, expansive realization: the ultimate receiver of this dana of presence is, in fact, the universe itself. By being fully here, you are fulfilling your role as a conscious part of the cosmos. You are the universe experiencing itself. To be distracted, lost in thought, is to be absent from your own life. To be present is to give the gift of your consciousness to the unfolding mystery of creation. It is the most fundamental form of participation. As you sit now, try this simple experiment. For the next 3 breaths, give your entire world to the sensation of breathing. Let the in-breath be the only thing in your universe. Let the out-breath be a complete offering, a release back to the air. If thoughts arise, acknowledge them like distant birds flying through the sky of your awareness, and gently return your gift to the breath. In this small act, you are practicing the dana that underlies all others, the gift of showing up for your own existence. From this place of deep, settled presence, we can approach the next, more challenging frontier of giving, the dana of our deepest fears and the layers of identity we cling to for safety. Now, we venture into a terrain of dana that feels less like an offering and more like a surgery. It is the dana of forgiveness. This is the practice of giving away your grievance, your righteous hurt, your cherished story of being wronged. It is perhaps the most difficult giving, because what we are asked to release feels so intimately a part of us, a wound we have nurtured, a scar we have come to identify with. To give it away can feel like a betrayal of our own pain, a violation of a personal truth. Yet, in the deep wisdom of Buddhism, forgiveness is not about condoning an action or forgetting a harm. It is about freeing yourself from the prison of resentment. It is the ultimate act of generosity towards your own heart. Imagine holding a burning coal in your hand with the intention of throwing it at someone who has hurt you. You wait for the perfect moment, the perfect throw. But while you wait, it is your own hand that is burning. Forgiveness is the act of dropping the coal. It doesn't change the past. It doesn't even necessarily change your relationship with the other person. It changes your relationship with the fire you are carrying. You give the fire back to the universe, and you keep your own hand. This is the essence of the practice. I want to share an original story about a woman named Anya. Anya had a brother with whom she had not spoken in 15 years. The reason was a business deal gone wrong, a significant sum of money lost, and words spoken that could not be taken back. For a decade and a half, Anya carried this story like a ledger. She would recount the details to herself, adding interest to the hurt. It defined her as the wronged party, the responsible one, the one who was right. It was a heavy, familiar weight. Then, her mother fell ill. In the strained silence of the hospital room, with their mother sleeping between them, Anya looked at her brother's tired face. She saw not the antagonist of her story, but a middle-aged man, afraid of losing his mother, carrying his own version of the ledger. In that moment, she felt a strange impulse. It wasn't to reconcile, or to talk it out. It was simpler. She silently said to herself, "I give this to you. I give you the entire story. The money, the words, the 15 years. I release my claim on it." She didn't say a word aloud. She just internally opened her hands and let the ledger fall. She performed an act of pure, internal dana. The result was not a dramatic reunion. They didn't even speak of the old wound that day. But something shifted. The air between them lost its electric charge of hostility. They could discuss their mother's care without the subtext of war. Years later, she told me, "I didn't forgive him for his sake. I did it for mine. I was tired of carrying the book. And the funny thing is, when I put it down, I realized I didn't even know the man standing in front of me anymore. The person I was so angry at was a ghost, a character from my own story." Letting go of the story allowed me to meet the real person, flaws and all. Anya gave away the poison, and in doing so, stopped poisoning her own well. This aligns with the Buddhist teaching of right intention, part of the Noble Eightfold Path. One aspect of right intention is the intention of renunciation, the letting go of clinging. What are we clinging to when we refuse to forgive? We are clinging to our identity as a victim, to our sense of justice, to our narrative of the past. We are clinging to the very things that cause us suffering. Dana, here, becomes the application of renunciation. You are giving up the clinging itself. You are not saying the action was okay. You are saying, "I will no longer allow this memory to have a controlling share in my heart's company." Now, let's explore this with a metaphor. Picture your mind as a vast, clear blue sky. A resentment is like a single, dark, heavy cloud that has parked itself in the center of your sky. You focus on it, obsess over its shape, its darkness, how it blocks the sun. You argue with it, curse it, define your entire sky by its presence. The practice of forgiveness is not about magically making the cloud disappear. It is about widening your gaze. It is about noticing that the cloud, however dark, is small. It is about feeling the vastness of the sky that holds it. You begin to give your attention not to the cloud, but to the sky around it, the open, boundless space that was there before the cloud formed and will be there after it drifts away. In doing so, you are giving the cloud permission to be, and also permission to move on. You stop fighting the weather of your past and instead rest in the spaciousness of your present awareness. This practice requires immense courage. It feels like a loss. And it is the loss of a familiar enemy, a well-worn story. But in that loss, you gain an unimaginable peace. You regain the energy that was tied up in maintaining the grievance. You free up space in your inner world for new growth, for joy that is not contingent on the past changing. There is also the practice of asking for forgiveness, which is another form of dana. It is the giving of your pride, your need to be seen as blameless. It is an offering of vulnerability and truth. It says, our connection is more important than my self-image. Both giving and seeking forgiveness are acts of profound spiritual generosity that mend the torn fabric of our shared humanity. As you breathe now, consider, is there a small cloud in your sky, a minor irritation, a recent slight, that you might practice widening your gaze around? Not to force it away, but to see it within the context of the vast, open awareness that you are. Can you give it a little more space, and in doing so, give yourself the gift of a little more freedom? This practice of inner relinquishment prepares us for the final, most profound frontiers of dana, where we give not just our stories, but the very ground upon which they stand. Let us move now to a form of dana so subtle that it is easily mistaken for inaction. It is the giving of control. The relinquishment of our need to manage, to fix, to orchestrate outcomes according to our personal will. In a world that praises agency and hustle, this practice feels like a paradox. Yet, in the spacious view of Buddhism, it is a profound generosity, a gift of trust offered to the unfolding nature of life itself. It is the dana of surrender. We often operate from a place of what I call the inner architect. We draft blueprints for how our day should go, how relationships should function, how our own progress on the spiritual path should look. When reality inevitably deviates from the plan, we suffer. We grip the blueprint tighter, trying to force the world to conform to our drawings. The dana of control is the conscious act of laying down the blueprint. It is not giving up on caring, but giving up the insistence that life must conform to your particular design. You are giving the universe the gift of your trust, and giving yourself the gift of openness to what is. Consider this metaphor: you are a sailor on a vast ocean. You can care for your boat with diligence, mending the sails, checking the rigging, navigating with skill. This is right action. But you cannot control the wind or the waves. The dana of control is to stop fighting the conditions and instead learn to adjust your sails. You give up your demand for a specific wind and work with the wind that is given. In doing so, you discover a different kind of power, one born of harmony rather than domination. You are giving your struggle to the sea, and in return, the sea carries you. I learned this lesson not on a boat, but in a pottery studio. I was trying, with great frustration, to center a lump of clay on the wheel. I would push and pull, applying force, but the clay would wobble and collapse. My teacher, watching my struggle, placed her hands gently over mine. "You are trying to command it," she said. "You must invite it. Give it your steady presence, not your force. Let the wheel do the turning. Your job is just to be the gentle, unwavering space it can center into." She guided my hands to hold the clay not like a thing to be conquered, but like a living thing to be partnered with. The moment I stopped forcing and started allowing, the clay rose into a perfect, symmetrical cylinder. It was a revelation. I had given my need to control the process, and in that giving, the process unfolded with a grace I could never have commanded. This is the essence of the practice, to become the steady, open space, not the forceful director. This directly reflects the Buddha's teaching on anicca, impermanence. Everything is in flux. Our attempt to freeze life, to control the uncontrollable, is the root of so much anguish. Dana, in this context, is the practice of making peace with the flow. It is offering your need for permanence and certainty as a gift to the law of change. You let go, and in that letting go, you find yourself floating rather than sinking. This extends powerfully into our relationships. How often do we try to control the people we love? To shape their choices, manage their emotions, or steer their lives toward what we believe is best. We call this love, but often it is a well-disguised form of clinging, a refusal to grant them the sovereignty of their own journey. The dana of control in relationship is to give the other person the gift of their own path. It is to love them without holding the leash. This is incredibly difficult. It requires faith, in them, in life, in the process of growth that often happens through stumbling. You give away your role as manager, and you take up the role of witness and compassionate support. I witnessed this in a friend who was a parent to a headstrong teenager. The more she tried to control her daughter's choices, the more the daughter rebelled, and the more both suffered. Exhausted and heartbroken, my friend finally made a conscious decision. I am giving her back to herself, she told me. I will always be here. I will state my concerns once, calmly. But I am giving up my need to make her choices for her. I am giving her the gift of her own consequences, for better or worse. It was a painful surrender. But as she released her grip, the tension in their home dissolved. The dynamic shifted from a battle of wills to two separate people navigating life. The daughter, feeling the space, actually began to make wiser choices and seek advice rather than rebel against commands. My friend had given the gift of autonomy, and in return, she received a more authentic relationship. Now, let's apply this to our spiritual practice itself. We can become attached to states of calm, to peak experiences in meditation, to a certain idea of what enlightenment looks like. We try to control our inner state, to force peace, to manufacture insights. This, too, becomes a subtle form of suffering. The dana here is to give up all expectations for your practice. You sit not to achieve a special state, but to offer your simple presence to the moment. You give the meditation back to itself. You allow whatever arises, restlessness, boredom, peace, pain, to be there without trying to control it. You are giving your agenda to the cushion, and you are left with the raw, honest truth of your experience. This is where real transformation occurs, not in the controlled environment of our hopes, but in the open field of reality. As you sit with this, feel into your own life. Where is the inner architect most active? Where are you gripping a blueprint, fighting the wind, or trying to command the clay? Can you identify one small area where you might experiment with the dana of control? Perhaps by not correcting someone's minor mistake, by allowing a plan to change without frustration, by sitting in meditation without any goal at all. Feel the initial fear, the sense of vulnerability. And then, feel the potential space that opens when you consciously release the grip. This surrender prepares the ground for the ultimate offering, the dana of the self itself. But first, we must look at the shadow that makes all this so difficult, fear. We arrive now at a form of dana that is both the most silent and the most spacious. It is the giving of space, physical, emotional, and mental. In a world that is constantly filling up, with noise, with information, with obligations. The conscious creation of emptiness is a profound act of generosity. It is the dana of silence, the dana of pause, the dana of simply allowing things to be, without our interference or commentary. This practice is deeply rooted in the Buddhist understanding of sunyata, often translated as emptiness or voidness, not as a nihilistic nothingness, but as a pregnant, potential-filled openness from which all things arise. Think of your mind as a concert hall. For most of our lives, it is filled with sound, the symphony of our thoughts, the percussion of our emotions, the constant background music of our plans and memories. We rarely experience the hall itself, empty and still. The dana of space is the practice of clearing the hall. It is inviting silence to be the main performer. When you do this for yourself, you are giving yourself the gift of rest, of clarity. When you do this for others, you are giving them the gift of being received without judgment, without the need to fill your mental air with their noise. You become a sanctuary of quiet understanding. Let me share an original story about a librarian in a small town. Her library was not just a place for books, it was a haven. But she noticed people would come in tents, talking loudly, their energy scattered. She instituted what she called the first 5 minutes. Upon entering, a small sign invited visitors to simply find a seat and do nothing for 5 minutes. Just sit. Breathe. Let the quiet of the room settle around them. There was no pressure to read, to browse, to achieve. She was offering the space itself as a gift. She told me, I am not just lending books. I am lending silence. I am lending room to breathe. And people return that silence tenfold, the whole atmosphere of the library changed. She was a practitioner of dana without ever using the word. She understood that the most needed resource for many was not more content, but less. More space. This aligns with the Buddha's own practice. After his enlightenment, he often spent time in silent communion, abiding in the spacious awareness that had been realized. He then gave from that space, his teachings arose from that profound silence. We, too, can practice this. Before speaking, offer a moment of internal space. Before reacting, offer a breath of mental space. This tiny gap is where freedom lies. It is where we choose our response rather than being compelled by our habit. You are giving the situation the gift of your conscious presence instead of your automatic pilot. Now, let's extend this to emotional space. How often do we rush to fix a loved one's sadness, to paper over their anger with platitudes, to solve their problem immediately? In our desire to help, we can crowd their emotional experience. The dana of emotional space is to give their feeling room to exist. It is to say, I am here with you in this. It's okay to feel this. You don't have to be okay right now. You are not giving advice or solutions, you are giving permission. You are holding a silent, compassionate container for their human experience. This is an immense gift. It says, your truth, however messy, is welcome here. You are giving away your need to fix and control, and offering the far greater gift of unconditional acceptance. I remember a powerful lesson from a master gardener. He showed me a crowded flower bed, plants choking each other, none thriving. They need thinning, he said. You have to remove some to give the others space to grow. It feels cruel, but it is the kindest thing. Then he showed me another bed where the plants had ample space between them. They were robust, vibrant, each reaching its full potential. "See," he said. "Space is not emptiness. It is the condition for life. Our relationships, our minds, our schedules are like that flower bed." The dana of space is the courageous thinning, saying no to some commitments to say yes to depth, allowing silence in conversation to let understanding root, creating mental gaps between thoughts to see clarity bloom. Finally, there is the giving of physical space. Letting someone merge in traffic. Stepping aside on a crowded sidewalk. Not crowding a partner, physically or energetically. Creating a clean, uncluttered environment in your home. These are all acts of dana. They are small, physical prayers of consideration. They acknowledge that the world does not revolve solely around your trajectory. As you breathe now, practice this. With your next exhale, imagine you are not just releasing air, but creating space within your own body. A sense of openness in the chest, a softening in the belly. With the following inhale, imagine you are drawing in spaciousness itself. Then, turn your attention outward. Can you offer a moment of silent, non-judgmental space to a thought or feeling that is present? Can you offer the gift of your own inner quiet to the room around you? In this simple act, you are practicing a generosity that nourishes all beings, starting with yourself. From this place of cultivated spaciousness, we are finally prepared to approach the deepest, most complete offering. The dana that encompasses all others. And so, we arrive here, at the silent, open center of the practice. We have journeyed through the many gardens of dana, the giving of attention, of kindness, of possessions, of forgiveness, of control, and of sacred space. Each has been a door, leading us deeper into the same vast room. Now, we stand before the final, and first, offering. It is the dana of the self. The relinquishment of the central, persistent story of I. This is not a dramatic act of destruction, but a quiet, steady seeing through. It is the ultimate generosity because it is the giving away of the very one who gives. In the deep wisdom of Buddhism, this is the realization of anatta, not self. It is the end of the path, and it is also where the path truly begins. All our previous practices have been preparing the ground for this. Each time you gave something away and felt that subtle pinch of reluctance, you were touching the outer edge of the self you believe yourself to be. That pinch was the boundary. Dana, in its totality, is the compassionate investigation and dissolution of that boundary. You are not giving away a self that exists like a solid statue. You are giving up the clinging to the idea of the statue. You are returning the borrowed components of identity, your thoughts, your feelings, your memories, your roles, back to the stream of life from which they temporarily arose. You are, in essence, giving everything back. Imagine a single, perfect dewdrop on a morning leaf. It glistens, holds the reflection of the sky, has a clear, distinct boundary. It believes itself to be separate, a unique dewdrop. As the sun rises, it begins to warm. The dewdrop doesn't fight this. It simply softens, its boundaries becoming less distinct, until finally, it slips from the leaf. In that falling, is it lost? No. It merges with the moisture in the air, joins the groundwater, will later rise again as mist or fall again as rain. It gives up its temporary, separate form and remembers it is, and always was, water. The giving of the self is like this. It is the natural, graceful yielding of the dewdrop of meat back into the ocean of being. There is no loss, only homecoming. The Buddha taught this not as a philosophical idea, but as a liberating truth to be directly known. The path of dana is the gradual warming of the sun. Each act of generosity, each letting go, warms the hard edges of our self-clinging. We soften. We become less solid, more fluid. We begin to sense our interconnection not as a theory, but as the very substance of our existence. The giver, the gift, and the receiver finally dissolve into a single, seamless act of givingness. This is the heart of the Bodhisattva's vow, to postpone one's own final merging until all beings realize this same freedom. Their entire path is an endless, compassionate dana. Let me leave you with one final, original story. There was a renowned violin maker, known for instruments of sublime tone. His secret, he said, was in the final step. After years of work, selecting the wood, carving, varnishing, he would take the finished, perfect instrument into the forest at dawn. He would find a quiet clearing, place the violin on a mossy stone, and walk away. He would leave it there for 1 full hour, unattended. I am giving it back, he explained. I am giving it to the wind to play, to the birds to sing to the silence to absorb. I am giving away my claim as its creator. For that hour, it belongs to the world. When I return, I bring back not just my violin, but an instrument that has remembered it is made of the forest. That is what gives it its voice. His genius was an act of dana. He understood that true creation is not ownership, but a temporary stewardship followed by a sacred return. You, too, are such an instrument. Beautifully, intricately assembled by genetics, experience, and time. But you are made of stardust and stories, of borrowed elements and fleeting moments. The practice of dana, in all its forms, is your hour in the forest. It is you, placing your identity, your possessions, your heart, your very life on the mossy stone of awareness and saying, I give this back. You walk away in trust. And when you return, which you do, to live your human life, you come back not as a separate owner, but as a note in the world's symphony, a vibration of the forest itself. Your voice is clearer for it. So, as we conclude this exploration, let the teaching settle not as more knowledge, but as an invitation to a different way of being. Tonight, tomorrow, in the small moments of your life, practice the radical generosity of letting go. Give your full attention to a single task. Give away a cherished possession. Give space to a difficult emotion. Give forgiveness where you have held a grudge. Give up control of an outcome. In each small release, feel the dewdrop soften. Sense the vastness you are part of. This is the path of dana. It begins and ends with a simple, revolutionary truth: you are not what you have. You are the giving itself. And in that giving, you are utterly, completely free. Thank you for walking this path with me at Monk's Temple. May your heart remain open, your hands remain open, and may your life be a continuous, gentle offering. Good night.